My name is Staff Sergeant Daniel Hayes. I'm from Austin, Texas. I served in the United States Army, 2nd Battalion Infantry Division. In 2012, I was deployed to Afghanistan during the war in Afghanistan. I've been shot once. I've lost brothers. And I've fought battles most people will never see. But none of that happened overnight. You're probably wondering how it all began. Let me take you back to where this story really started. From the very beginning. I grew up in a quiet town in Texas where Friday nights meant football games, and the loudest thing in the sky was usually a crop duster. My dad was a mechanic. My mom worked double shifts at a diner. We weren't poor, but we weren't exactly cruising either. After high school, most of my friends either went to college or stayed back flipping burgers and talking about big dreams they never chased. Me? I felt stuck. One afternoon, I walked past a recruitment office. The American flag outside snapped sharply in the wind. The poster on the window read, "Be more than yourself." That line hit different. Inside, the recruiter looked sharp-pressed uniform, calm voice, confident eyes. He didn't sell me fantasy. He said something simple. You won't find comfort, but you'll find purpose. That was it. I signed the papers. The night before I left for Fort Benning, I couldn't sleep. Emily was lying beside me, her head resting on my chest. I could feel her breathing. Slow, calm. Mine wasn't. I stared at the ceiling thinking, tomorrow everything changes. At 2:17 a.m. she whispered, without opening her eyes, "You're thinking too loud." I chuckled softly. "You scared?" she asked. "Yeah," I admitted. "But I won't quit." She lifted herself slightly and looked at me. "That's what I'm scared of." That line stayed with me longer than any drill sergeant's scream. They sent me to Fort Benning for basic combat training. Day 1? Pure chaos. Drill sergeants screaming inches from your face. Bags flying. Recruits stumbling off buses like confused cattle. I remember thinking, what the hell did I just sign up for? Sleep became a luxury. 4 hours if you were lucky. Push-ups until your arms shook uncontrollably. Running miles with a rucksack digging into your shoulders like it had teeth. One drill sergeant kept yelling, "You're not civilians anymore. I will smoke the weakness out of you." And he did. Blisters covered my feet. My knees felt like shattered glass. During rifle qualification, my hands trembled so badly I could barely steady my aim. But something started changing. The guy who used to quit when things got hard, yeah, he started disappearing. We learned how to move as a unit, how to clear rooms, how to trust the guy next to you with your life. One night during a 12-mile ruck march, rain pouring down, mud everywhere, I thought I was done. Completely cooked. The recruit next to me whispered, "Don't quit now, man." We didn't come this far to bail, so I kept walking. That's when I understood something. The Army doesn't just train your body. It rewires your mind. Graduation day felt unreal. When they handed me that uniform with my name tape stitched across the chest, it felt heavier than fabric. It carried responsibility, legacy, history. I wasn't just some kid from Texas anymore. I was a U.S. soldier. My wife, Emily, hugged me so tight, I thought she might crack a rib. We'd gotten married right before I shipped out. Young love, reckless, real. She looked up at me and said quietly, "Just promise you'll come back." I smiled. I always do. I wish I'd known how fragile promises can feel in a war zone. Before deployment, my unit gathered in the barracks one last time. Jackson, the same guy who later dragged me to safety, tossed a deck of cards on the table. "All right, boys, one last trash talk session before we go make history." We laughed, joked, called each other idiots. But beneath the humor, we all knew not everyone might come back. Later that night, when the room went quiet, I heard someone softly praying in the dark. No one made fun of him. War humbles even the toughest men. Orders came fast. Afghanistan. Dry heat, endless mountains. Villages that looked frozen in time. The air there felt tense, like it carried secrets. The first patrol was quiet. Too quiet. That's what makes your skin crawl. You're walking down a narrow road. Kids watching from doorways. Locals pretending not to look. Your rifle heavy in your hands. Every pile of trash could be an IED. Every window could hide a rifle barrel. Then it happened. An explosion ripped through the air behind us. The blast knocked me off my feet, ears ringing, dust everywhere. Someone screaming for a medic. Training kicked in automatically. Secure perimeter. Return fire. Drag wounded to cover. Gunshots cracked across the valley. It wasn't like the movies. There was no soundtrack, just chaos and survival. We pushed forward under fire. My heart felt like it was going to punch through my chest. Then I felt it. A sharp, brutal punch to my side. I stumbled. At first, I thought I'd tripped. Then I saw the blood spreading across my uniform. I'd been shot. The pain didn't hit instantly. It came in waves, hot, blinding, electric. I remember falling back behind a wall, trying to breathe. My buddy Jackson grabbed me. "Stay with me, man. Don't you dare check out." The sky above was bright blue, strangely peaceful. I thought about Emily. I thought, this can't be it. I woke up in a military hospital in Germany. The doctor told me the bullet had missed my liver by less than an inch. Less than an inch. That's how close life and death sit next to each other. Recovery was brutal. Physical therapy, stitches, scar tissue that burned when I moved too fast. But the scar wasn't the hardest part. The silence at night was. You replay things, the explosion, the faces, the what-ifs. Some of my brothers didn't come back. I did. That kind of survival comes with weight. In the operating room in Germany, I flatlined for 11 seconds. That's what the nurse told me months later. 11 seconds. Doctors working fast. Controlled panic. Machines beeping wildly. One of them said, "Not today. Stay with us." And somehow, I did. When I woke up later, I didn't feel heroic. I felt empty, like I had left something behind on that battlefield. Maybe I did. When I finally returned home, there were banners, flags, neighbors clapping. But something felt off. Emily looked thinner, paler. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. She tried to act normal for a week. Said she was just tired, stress. Then one evening she sat across from me at the kitchen table. Her hands were shaking. "It's cancer," she whispered. The word hit harder than any gunshot. Stage 3. She had found out while I was overseas. She didn't tell me. She said she didn't want me distracted. Didn't want me hesitating in combat because of her. I felt anger, guilt, fear. I'd faced bullets. But this felt like a fight I wasn't trained for. After returning home, I couldn't sleep in my own bed. The silence was too loud. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling fan spinning slowly. No gunfire. No radios. No boots moving outside. Just stillness. At 3 a.m., I walked into the kitchen and sat alone in the dark. That's when I noticed Emily's medical paperwork tucked under a pile of mail. I didn't read it yet, but my stomach dropped. Something was wrong. When the doctor confirmed her cancer, the room felt smaller. I asked questions like I was on a mission briefing. What stage? What treatment options? What survival rate? The doctor answered calmly. Emily squeezed my hand. I was gripping her so tight, my knuckles turned white. But inside, I was terrified. I'd trained for combat. No one trains you to watch your wife fight for her life. Hospitals became our new routine. Chemo sessions, the smell of antiseptic, long waits for test results that felt like waiting for incoming fire. I shaved my head when she lost her hair. I told her she was still the most beautiful woman alive. At night, when she slept, I sat in the dark and felt more helpless than I ever did in Afghanistan. War teaches you how to fight enemies you can see. Cancer is invisible, unpredictable, cruel. One night she grabbed my hand and said, "You survived a bullet. We can survive this too." Her strength humbled me. What strength really means. I used to think being a soldier meant fearlessness. Now I know better. Strength is staying when it's hard. Strength is loving when you're scared. Strength is carrying hope when the odds don't look good. The scar on my side aches when it rains. But it reminds me I got a second chance. Not just at life, at love. One afternoon after chemo, she broke. She was exhausted, angry, pale. "I hate this," she whispered. "I hate feeling weak." I knelt in front of her hospital chair. "You're not weak. You're fighting." Tears rolled down her face. "So are you," she said. And I see it. That hit harder than any explosion ever did. Months later, we sat waiting for scan results. The doctor walked in holding a folder. He didn't smile immediately. My heart started pounding like I was back on patrol. He opened the file. There was a pause. Too long. Then, "There's improvement, not remission. Not victory, but improvement." And in that moment, it felt like winning a war. People thank me for my service all the time. They see the uniform, the medals, the discipline. They don't see the nights I wake up sweating. They don't see the hospital chairs I've fallen asleep in. They don't see how close I came to losing everything twice. Once on a battlefield, and once at home. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. You can survive a bullet, but surviving life, that takes real courage. I survived a bullet overseas, but the real war? It was learning that sometimes the bravest thing a soldier can do is come home and stay